So we are live. I'm coming on live just a couple minutes early ahead of schedule here. Only so I can get everything straightened out and give you guys a chance to log in. Here we are. Here we are, Tuesday, July 21st. And Congress and everyone is back in session. And we are hearing lots of buzz about stimulus check, maybe 2 stimulus checks, talking about the tax holiday, talking about, remember we've heard about the vacation incentive, and a couple of different options here that are going to be unraveling as the next 2 days go by. So, hey, Ronan. Hey, Brian. Hey, Brian, I tried to text back to you. I saw that you said hello on YouTube, but apparently when I stopped broadcasting, I also am disabled from being able to text or chat on the YouTube. We got some really cool things coming on, going on this week.
Residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they.
I am drained. Can I get a refill? I drank everything already.
Expectations.com to start your journey today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
That one I got already. Thank you. See, I want to that one. Cool.
Sincerely, those of the station and staff and sponsors.
It's kind of a nice little routine got going. Start early in the morning, up at 6:30, work right through till 5 o'clock. Then we stop. We go for our 3-mile bike ride, 3-mile run. Thank you very much.
We're effectively utilizing real estate mortgage.
You got to get that out, otherwise copyrighted music, YouTube doesn't like it.
Simple approach to buying income-producing real estate. If you have any.
And hello, South Florida. Welcome to another live edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show all about real estate. Heard here in South Florida live on 1 a.m. stations, several FM stations, and also streaming live on the internet. Over there, you can find us either by downloading the free app. TuneIn is one, radio.com is another. The iHeartRadio is probably the most well-known. Just search for WWNN Money Talk Radio. That's WWNN Money Talk Radio 1470. And you can get us on iHeartRadio and take us with you wherever you go, driving around. Or just go to our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. where you can either listen to us live if you tune in any weekday evening from 8 until 8:30 Eastern time, or you can go there on demand and either download the podcast version or download the latest, or pick your date, going back literally years and years of archives over there on our website. Once again, that's automaticlandlord.com. So I want to say a quick hello to some of our Facebook Live listeners. I got Cindy out there in California, Bob in Florida. How you doing, Bob? Erica here in Florida, Brian in Southern California, and Ronan from Beverly Hills. And for those of you also, you can watch our show. We're streaming it live here during the pandemic. Since we've converted the home into an office, a home, a gym, a cafeteria, and also our radio studio, we decided to go live on the visual as well on YouTube. So you can go to, just search for The Real Estate Show, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can catch up with us then. Well, as we start off the week, on Monday, we set the agenda. We're looking ahead, talking a little bit about the activity in Houston. We're getting ready to start a renovation, long distance in Houston this week. We're looking at some aspects, a conversation we want to talk about, building wealth beyond the Wall Street. In fact, building it on Main Street right here with real estate. We talked about today's show. We got a special guest in just a few minutes coming on, getting the latest scoop. We're going to have a foreclosure report from the Foreclosure Man. And this has been a real evolution that we've been talking about. This whole concept of why this is going to be completely different than the 2007, 2008 economic meltdown. Our market is a much different place than it was back then. I'll tell you, it's a lot more solid in some areas, and then kind of like an old house. It's got some soft spots in the roof of an otherwise solid house. And then we've got a very special guest coming on our Wednesday show along with our midweek report. And then Thursday, we're going to go deep and dark into the automatic debt solution. Talk about how to literally shred your debt, get through and pay off your mortgage in 1/3 to 1/2 of the time. So a very dynamic week going on this week. And so I want to go straight into our guest, who I know is already waiting for us in the green room. So without further ado, is the Foreclosure Man ready? Is he there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I certainly can, and not only that, but I am looking directly at you on Facebook right now.
All right, my waves to you then. So it's been an incredible few days. Seems like we were just talking yesterday, but it's been a week.
It goes by in such a way that it feels like it's a day or two at the most. It's so fast.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And, there's a lot going on. Congress is back in session. So we've got, the arguments and the posturing going on there. We know that there's a lot in play right now. A lot of people right now have been kind of sitting back. And let's talk, there's really two types of people in this marketplace right now. And they're two rather large groups. One is, it's kind of business as usual. They may be working from home. They may be working remotely at a distance. Maybe some of them are, sparsely socially distanced enough that they're able to work from the offices. I know both types of people, but their paychecks are coming in as usual. Their payments are going out as usual. They're solid on solid ground. But then there's the other camp. And many of them have had a reprieve. They've been kind of sort of patiently and actually probably a little too comfortably waiting for Congress to make up their mind whether to lift the moratorium on foreclosures, whether to lift the moratorium on landlord evictions. What do you think about that, Foreclosure Man?
Well, you and I call who I am the Foreclosure Man. I'm really not an anonymous human being. I'm somebody who's been doing this for, I guess it was late, about December 2007. I seized upon this set of circumstances. I am a retired New Yorker. I worked in a fashion, not in the Wall Street market, but for Wall Street companies. And when I retired in 1996, which seems like a lifetime ago, I started looking into our monetary system, and within a few years, I predicted the collapse that we suffered in 2007 and 8. And I laser attacked, if you will, the folks that were losing their homes. And I said, this is an interesting place. I'm not in it to make money because I almost lost my home in 1996. I managed to sell it to get out of it, but my whole family went through hell. A whole year of anxiety, and it went beyond that, which I can't really get into. It's too long of a story to do for this particular event. But I said, an awful lot of folks are going to lose their homes. And I had a marketing bent back in New York. I would find things that people needed in my market. I was a contractor in the World Trade Center. I furnished many of the Wall Street giants as they migrated from their offices on Wall Street, William Street, and so on into Trade Center in the late 60s. And when I retired, I saw a new market emerging. And I said, I know after the few years I've been researching this, I know more about the subprime mortgage-backed security and the subsequent mortgages that came out of it, or that actually went into it to create them, than a room full of Harvard attorneys. These people are going to be losing their homes and be in the same sense of anxiety that I was. So I created a plan where I would, in fact, pay for the attorney to represent them to defend the case, because I also had another perspective. That was that those mortgages were created to fail, which is a remarkable statement, and it makes me sound a little wacky, but the fact of the matter is I've done enough research to be able to prove to anybody that wants to speak and look at the dates, the laws, the creation of some of these bonds. These mortgages were created to fail, and I started with 1, 2, then before I know it, I had 12, then I had 16, I had 18, I had close to over is a bad term, but I had over 100, slightly over 100 clients where I was paying for their defense in a foreclosure case. And I watched that over the course of years, did a number of other things, and have now emerged over those last few months, because I have seen a spike as of about last October and November before COVID, that there was a new spike in foreclosures. All the modifications that were being done were faux modifications. They were being modified only to foreclose at a later date. And then lo and behold, in February and March 17th this year, when DeSantis made his announcement to postpone all foreclosure evictions, I looked at COVID and I said, oh my God, we have another epidemic of foreclosures on the horizon. Maybe not bank failures like I had predicted and did happen back in 06, 07, but we are going to have a lot of good people losing their homes because they're subject to human nature. They're going to be given a forbearance for a month, 2, 3, 4 months, and then the bank is going to demand collection, and they're not going to have the money to pay those 3 or 4 months to bring it up. So by September through, I'd say, January next year, we're going to see, I hope not, but I think we're going to see a spike in foreclosures again throughout the nation, not just the state of Florida. I only work in the state of Florida. And I am here to tell you, I want to take those cases on. I want to put attorneys into those cases that are highly experienced from the past foreclosure epidemic, and I will pay for those attorneys. And there is a marketing program it's associated with that. And if you want, you can go see our website. It's www.asktheforeclosureman.com, and you'll find some of the details that are associated with our program. And if we can keep you in your home a month or 6 months or a year or 4 years, and frankly, I still have people almost 12 years in their home while we're defending them in court. We're actually defending them in court in other states because we're now taking the battle to the lender who has the note. And that gets to be more complex than I want to get into here, but in a closing on a home, you only sign 2 papers. You feel like you sign 100, but you sign 2. And that's the note to pay back, and you sign the mortgage, which is a consensual lien on the house. When they foreclose, we're only attacking you to take the house. The note, however, is usually owned by someone in another state. If it's in the right state, we're attacking those notes because some of those states have laws long set up through the appellate Supreme Court where we can extinguish the ability of the owner of the note to collect the note. And once we have that ruling in another state, we take it back into the state of Florida and go after the exhaustion, or if you will, the elimination of the mortgage. We're in the process of doing that for a number of houses over the last 11, actually more. I have a few that go into 12 years. And we have a goal to satisfy the need for people who know there's something wrong with what they signed and what they did. They can't quite put their finger on it. And attorneys, they just can't wait to get rid of the case and make a settlement. I'm not an attorney, but I know attorneys that know how to fight this battle. So I'm running on and I'm rambling, and I apologize, but I am here to take on your case and take on your problems, and I will pay that attorney to defend your case, your foreclosure case. It's a complex, there's a bunch of moving parts in it. You'll have to come to a personal interview over in Boca Raton or in Sarasota, depending upon your location where you may be hearing this from. But this is what we do and what I am doing at this late point in my life, and I absolutely love it. We've helped an enormous number of people over the past 13 years to stay in their home and to, in fact, settle. And we're in the process of winning. I can't tell you if we have. We've won a couple of homes, but what we look for is a stalemate where we actually get the homeowner, after keeping them in their home for 2, 6, 8, 10 years, we get them a large payout from the so-called foreclosing entity. And I give it back to you, Eric. I'll let you take it back from there. COVID is going to cause this to happen again, and there are elements to COVID that your audience also probably needs to know about, when they will be attacked and how they will be evicted from their homes. COVID's going to hurt them. It's going to help them in some ways, but it's also going to hurt them terribly.
Okay, and as I'm looking on my Facebook, I've got a couple of questions for you. But before I answer some of those questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. We're up against a little time challenge. So we're going to go to a quick break here, a few words from some of our commercial sponsors. And then when we come back, I'm going to answer those questions there from our Facebook feed. I also want to kind of touch on a couple of the high points there. What our listeners just heard was some very high level strategy that you will not hear the average foreclosure defense. And trust me, I have been through dozens of foreclosure attorneys over the last 15 years. And I can tell you from firsthand experience living through the Great Recession that came fast and furious. And at that time, as you mentioned, a little detail that back then the banks, there were a lot of bank failures that were going on during the economic meltdown. This time, mark his words, he made a very interesting and I think a very accurate prediction. This time, you're not going to see a whole bunch of bank failures, but you will see a whole bunch of foreclosure failures because the banks are better prepared this time around. And not only that, the old adage that the banks are not in the real estate business is absolutely out the window now. The banks are in the real estate business, so they will come back and they will collect their due if they can, unless you have a strategy. And that's what I want to talk about when we come back. So you're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Wilner. I am here with the Foreclosure Man. We're going to join him in just a second right after these words. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. I'm going to tone down the music so that I don't. All right, here we go. So first of all, I want to say hi, Michael Prakash. There you go, from the San Francisco, from the Bay Area. And Bob, I got your question coming up when we come back from the break. It's a good question, and it's a fair question. Simone from Boca Raton, how are you? And Eula, insurance agent extraordinaire. And Makitha, good afternoon. How are you? Where are you from, Makitha? It's a new one of our regular listeners. So I'm curious so that I can say hello to you as well. So interesting day. But like I said, one point to watch here is going to be the aspect that the banks are not in the weak position so much this time. They've got the federal bailouts on the backside, as they always did have, the ones that were able to stick around, the ones that got caught in the initial wave. And if you look on a very interesting website known as ml-implode.com, which was Mortgage Lender Implode, it was literally a website that we watched and I checked every single day back in 2007. And it's sort of frozen in time right now. It's still up. And you can go back and see that when Washington Mutual collapsed and when a whole bunch of other lenders that you'll recognize their names. they're all up there when 384 banks and lenders were crushed in that economic downturn. Not to be the case this time, and I believe Foreclosure Man is spot on that one. So we have sort of a series going here with Foreclosure Man. This is a service, and we're coming back. Five 595-7779. 888-595-7779. All right, so we're coming back here, and welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show about real estate. And today I'm joined with my very special, very knowledgeable expert in the area of foreclosures, the Foreclosure Man, aptly named. And we were talking about this process, okay? And it's a process very different than many of you who might have experienced some aspect, whether it be a loan modification, a short sale, a foreclosure. What's very interesting about all of those is that the paperwork required is all very similar. The outcome is diametrically opposed in some of those cases. So, Foreclosure Man, one of the questions that one of our listeners was asking is that you know, it's very noble to hear you say that you know, you've adopted this lifelong pursuit of understanding foreclosures, and more importantly, the back office mechanics of Wall Street, and how the foreclosure secondary market works, and how the instruments were designed, because that ultimately explains what happened in 2008 and 2007. But what's in it for you?
I'm not Mother Teresa, but I have always been taught in the course of my business career, going all the way back to probably when I was in my late 20s, if everybody in the transaction cannot win, it's a bad transaction.
Yep.
Now, relative to that, if the homeowner can be a winner, if I can be a winner, and if we can beat the bank, or at least bring the bank to a stalemate and make the bank a loser, because that's one winner we do not want to make, that comes out fine. Now, I'm not giving you the specifics. Let me make a decision. I will give you specifics. If we beat the bank in any way, either in the form of a stalemate, or if we exhaust their ability, and that's the legal term that's been used in a Supreme Court ruling in another state, if we can exhaust the bank's ability to collect against the note, the home will go to the homeowner free of charge. No, it will not. The Foreclosure Man will take half the spoils. So that's what we will, in fact, walk away with. That makes us a winner as well as the homeowner. But I would suggest they're difficult, very difficult victories to come by. The state of Florida ruled in a Bartram case back about 4 years ago that in spite of what the Florida legislature said, after 60 months, if you couldn't successfully finish a foreclosure case, you had to give up the mortgage. Well, the Supreme Court in the state of Florida, after sitting for a year, ruled that's not true. They violated the intent of the legislature. Well, we've looked outside the state of Florida and other states. We have found rulings that, in fact, have gone to the Supreme Court of that state and ruled in favor of the homeowner. So what we look for is specific mortgage, let's say, owners, plaintiffs. And when we find those, we exploit the nature of the case. If it's the second case by that bank or the third case, we're in better shape than we would be if it was the first case. So we have a wealth of experience that goes outside the range of any attorney that's listening. And I challenge any attorney that's listening to come and understand what I'm talking about, because they don't. They couldn't give a rat's patootie. They want to collect your money, get to a point, and then move on to another client and take a big lump sum. We don't do it that way. We don't look at it that way. So yeah, I have a potential to win at the end, and you will win. We both win, and that's the nature of the circumstance. Everyone's a winner.
So one way, and tell me if I'm characterizing this correctly. When you put and it starts out really sort of like a David and Goliath battle, right? It is the homeowner who has no legal background, shallow pockets, and often in many cases not much of a financial background either. And they're up against a bank who has a team of attorneys, MBAs who design the products. We're not exactly talking about a level playing field, not in the real world and certainly not in court. And so what the foreclosure man is basically saying is that I'll team up with you and I'll level the playing field. If we're able, even a tie, go ahead.
We'll do our best to level that field. And I want to tell you, years and years ago when I started this in the late 7th, early 8th, I was more optimistic than I am right now. I can take a look at your case. I'll tell you whether I believe you're going to win, or you're going to reach a stalemate, or you're going to lose. But in every single one of those instances, each of those single instances, those 3 instances, I will keep you in your home longer, or I will keep you on deed to your home. I may not keep you in that house. And at the very end, the worst case situation is I'm going to have your foreclosure case dismissed. Here, this is a big claim, and you have to understand, I will guarantee that at the end, if you do what I expect or ask you to do, I'm going to get your foreclosure case dismissed. It will not be on your credit record going forward. It will not affect your ability to go and get another mortgage after the case should, if it is, lost. That's a big guarantee for somebody. I'm going to restore your credit.
Now there's and that's why I wanted to get to before we finished up the show, and we're right there at the bottom of the hour. What the foreclosure man is going to do is, number one, is going to diagnose the situation. We're going to find out whether what case you have, how strong that case is, and what's the best strategy. So then step 2 is to design that strategy. Step 3 is to fight that strategy and stand down and keep you in your home as long as possible. Ultimately, we're going to have to figure out whether you can afford the house or not. And then when that determination is made, we're going to figure out the best way to restore your credit and put you on solid footing and give you a fresh start. That's what the foreclosure man does. If you want to get more information, contact him on his website, asktheforeclosureman.com, or contact me as well, 888-595-7779. I know that we're running out of time. The music is on. That's 888-595-7779. Thank you, Foreclosure Man, for coming in. We'll be looking for another update and a report next week. So until then, this is Eric Wollner signing off for another edition of the Real Estate Show. Remember, drive safe, wash those hands, and God bless America.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show, brought to you by.
All right, Ken, thank you. So, man, the time flies so much when we're going through this stuff, and there's really in-depth. A lot of the stuff I don't think I even want to discuss in depth on the radio. And what we're going to be doing probably in a couple of weeks is setting up a workshop for those of you who have a deeper interest and a stronger curiosity about what he does. We laid out sort of that 4-step process that I discussed a little bit earlier. And and we didn't get to talk about this because in the northeast part of Florida, on the west coast of Florida, the courts are back open. Not just judges doing Zoom hearings, but the courthouse is open and trials are moving forward. And so for homeowners who were in trouble and who think that they got all the time in the world because there's this foreclosure moratorium, not every state is on the same path. Not even within the state, not every county is on the same time frame. So this is where you want to be very up to date on what your local area is. And if you're not, you got to contact somebody like Foreclosure Man. And it's asktheforeclosureman.com. You can also call him directly. Call or text area code 941-321-0584. That's 941-321-0584. Jot that number down. And I'm going to get a little bit more familiar here. I'm going to start being able to post it in our chat here on the Real Estate Show so that you have it there as part of the history as well. So that's it for today. We got another incredible guest tomorrow night. So make sure you join us same place, same time tomorrow. Until then, signing off here first on our YouTube stream. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.